Welcome to episode 41 of the FoodGrads Podcast, the podcast where we explore careers in the food, beverage, and agricultural industries. I'm your host, Veronica Hislop, a molecular science graduate student and career partner with FoodGrads. This week on the podcast, we have something a little different lined up. For the past year, FoodGrads has paired with CareersNow, an initiative created by Food and Beverage Ontario looking to bring awareness to assist people in exploring a variety of careers in Ontario's food and beverage processing industry. Over the past year, with CareersNow, we have hosted 12 mentorship sessions where students or new graduates, well, actually really anyone, could attend virtual career advice sessions with leading professionals to learn more about the exciting career pathways in the industries and get their questions asked live. Together, we have covered pathways from everything from sales and marketing to supply chain to product development in pretty much every section of the industry. Because there's been so many great career stories put out there, we wanted to bring you some of the highlights from these mentorship sessions. So on the docket today are 4 professionals from all areas of the industry, and in order of how they will be featured on today's podcast episode are Alvin Alexander, maintenance mechanic at FGF Brands, Morolayo Mould, Health and Safety Inspector at Kerry, Gireesh Raina, Food Inspector at the Ontario Ministry of Food, Agriculture and Rural Affairs, and Swarna Arik Moir, Senior Packaging Engineer at Mars Canada. So enough with that introduction, let's get on with the show.
Thank you, Nicole, and hello everyone, and welcome to the Student Career Mentorship Series hosted by Food and Beverages Ontario's CareersNow team. My name is Alvin Alexander, and I am one of the guest speakers. I'm going to be talking to you about my experience in this food industry sector. To be honest, I will be speaking to you more about my experiences and how I got into this industry, and I will try to make it a little short, I would say, and then try to be more thorough about how to getting into the skilled trades. But before I start, I would like to thank this wonderful team for reaching out, for being a guest speaker here. It's an honor. And also, I would like to congratulate the entire team for organizing such an informative session for students. If you talk about schools and colleges, it's very hard for children when they are coming out of college or when they are coming out of school to find actual job opportunities or find actual work that they want to get into unless they get exposure from their seniors. It could be from their house, it could be from their friends, families. So this initiative is a very good opportunity for everybody to get in touch with, especially with the food industry. Honestly, I wish I had something like this when I was finishing my college back in the days. But honestly, it's such a wonderful thing that what you guys are doing. So basically, I'm going to start a little bit about myself. I'm a mechanical engineer. I come from a city called Chandigarh in India. I love traveling. I love exploring new places. I finished college back in 2010, which looks like a very long time ago if I look back at my journey. As I was finishing college, my focus of getting a job, the industry that I was looking at was automobile manufacturing. Like me, like many other mechanical engineers in India, the only industry that we were exposed to in our college was automobile manufacturing, be it car manufacturing, be it motorcycle manufacturing, be it like parts manufacturing. So that was the only industry that we were exposed to. We did get a little exposure from pharmaceutical companies as well, but we were never given the chance to explore food manufacturing. And I started searching jobs and internships in automobile sectors. And luckily, I landed an internship in my first job at Microturners, which is one of India's largest OEM part manufacturer for Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki. So I was there for almost 6 months when I finished my internship, and I was hired full-time as a production engineer and by the same company. And my main work was to collaborate with the production teams, quality assurance teams, the raw material department, maintenance departments for meeting production schedules. I was at microturners for about 3 years. 3 years, like around. I started in August of 2010, and I finished almost in July of 2013. And while working there, my main experience was, my main knowledge was working within the industry and how to deal with people, how to deal with different departments and how to collaborate with teams. In August of 2013, I joined Kone Elevators and Escalators as a technical support engineer. Kone, you might know, is one of the largest brands when it comes to elevators and escalators, auto walks in globally. So the company works in manufacturing, installing, and servicing these equipments. My job at Kone was completely different from what I was doing at Microturners. And it involved me working with teams of technicians and fixing complex technical problems, technical issues that we encountered while working on the equipment. I was at Kone for approximately 2 years, and that's the time when I decided I want to move to Canada. So in June of 2015, I packed up my bags. I moved to Canada for a hope, for a hope of a better future. Initially, I struggled a lot to find a good job and even took bridging courses at Access Employment and even at Humber College to make my resume more attractive to Canadian employers. I landed a job at Ingram Micro as an order picker, and through an internal posting, I got the opportunity to work as a product tester for Amazon Return. I worked at Ingram Micro for approximately a year and a half, and I was hired there on a contract basis. So after my contract finished, I started looking for other opportunities. And I came across one of my friends who was working at FGF, and he told me about an opportunity to get into the food manufacturing business. And so I had interest in that. But I was not 100% sure if I would get that opportunity. So in June of 2017, I cleared my interviews, I got the initiation, and in June of 2017, I joined FGF Brands as an entry level where I have been working since. So now let me talk to you about a little bit about FGF Brands, what FGF Brands is. FGF Brands is basically an industrial bakery based here in North York, Ontario. We have manufacturing plants all over Canada as well as United States. We have plants in North York, Vaughan, and there's one plant in Texas, United States as well. So FGF is one of the largest suppliers of sweet baked goods, naans, croissants in North America. Retail stores like food service clients like Walmart, Sobeys, Longo's, Starbucks, like these are our main customers, and we supply product to them directly. If you check actually FGF's website, it mentions there that FGF is a tech company that bakes. Now, this is a very interesting thing if you think about it. How can a bakery be a tech company? The answer comes from the equipment that we use. See, we use state-of-the-art, top-of-the-line robotics to package our muffins, to package our croissant, to package most of the products. And so it gives you an opportunity to be on the technical side as well. And if you also look at the vision of FGF, FGF's vision is to become the world's greatest bakery. Now, we at FGF, we really appreciate everybody coming into work. We really appreciate all the manpower that comes in, and it gives everybody an opportunity to work together and work together as a team and come together as a team. So I at work FGF currently I'm working as a maintenance mechanic, and I'm almost there as a millwright. I'm not quite there, but I'm almost there, which I will come back to in a few minutes. Like how I will explain to you how my journey has progressed and what future plans I have with this company and within the industry, how you can grow your career. Now let's talk about a few things that I would like to discuss. So what can you do to get into the skilled trades, and how does the skilled trades tie up in the food manufacturing? Because I being a mechanic, if you think about it, what does a mechanic do at a bakery? For sure, he's not baking stuff. So he's there to do something else. Okay, let's go back to what a skilled trade is. Like a skilled trade is nothing but it's just a career path that requires hands-on work and specialty knowledge about, it could be about equipment, it could be about the manufacturing process, it could be about the structure of the building, like anything and everything involves, it can be involved into the skilled trades. So, and what are the benefits? Let's talk about what are the benefits that you get in a skilled trade environment. See, in skilled trades, the jobs are in demand all the time. If you think that the industry, whichever industry you want to get in, the first job they require is installation of equipment. That comes under skill trade. It could be using the equipment. Again, this comes under skill trade. Believe it or not, you get paid better than most, like I would say most of the other industries. And there are many paths to advance. You can start in A, say you start at A and you can end at, I don't know, at Z. There are so many skills that you can learn. So let's take my example, how I began. So I began as an entry-level mechanic at FGF. Now, you would say, what is an entry-level mechanic? An entry-level mechanic is nothing but, I would say it is more like an apprenticeship. So I started working, I had a bit of experience back from India, a little bit of hands-on experience as well, working on machinery, solving problems, troubleshooting problems. But to be honest, I had never worked in a food manufacturing plant. So I was working with other more skilled, more experienced mechanics and just shadowing them on their work, trying to learn from their experience. So for the first almost 1 year, I was working with somebody. We used to fix machines. We used to take, if there was any problem with the machines, we used to try to fix the machines. That was mostly my day-to-day work. In about a year, I was promoted to level 1. And so I progressed in my rank as well. I was promoted to level 1 as a mechanic working in FGF. And so that gave me an opportunity to work on my own. It gave me more experience, more exposure to the machinery. Right now we have depositing lines, we have packaging lines, and most of the times I'm working alone on shifts and taking calls and trying to fix machinery. So ever since I have gained another level. So I'm right now currently at level 2 as a mechanic and soon to be middle. And so it's been a very promising journey. The progress has been steady. It's never like you are never stagnant. In working in this industry, there is always demand for food. So it cannot go down anyways. So let me tell you about some facts about the industry. So to get into the skilled trades, there are 3 main entry points that you can take. First is either you go to a school or a college and get a diploma or a degree in the skilled trades that you want to get in. For me, I could have gone to a college and did the mechanic internship or apprenticeship and got into the industry through there. And then the second option you have is either you find an employer that gets you these apprenticeship programs from the skilled trade colleges, and you get paid for working as an apprentice as well. The third is if you have experience, say if you already have worked a certain amount of time, you can challenge the college for an equivalent apprenticeship degree, and they will recognize those hours, they will recognize that time that you worked and give you the same designation. So I'm going with the third route. For me personally, I'm taking the third route. I have worked at FGF for almost 4 years now, and I am almost at 8,000 hours. So for me, the journey that I took it led to me having the experience and having the number of hours that are required for the equivalency. So I'm going to take that route. So after completing 8,000 hours, what you can do is you can submit an application to the skilled trade college, and they will ask for the employer's approval. They will apply, they will ask for what kind of job you do, the job duties that you do, and they will double check with the employer that is the said person working with you, does he have the knowledge that he's claiming he has, and then they will give you the equivalent degree. In my case, it will be a millwright license. So this is the course of like the course that I'm trying to take, and hopefully by next month or by the end of October, I think I will have my license. Hopefully, other thing you can do is you can always, if you're working with an employer that knows that you don't have a license, you can always keep them in the loop, and they can apply for a license for you as well. You really don't need their help. You just need a letter of employment, and you just need a letter from them saying that yes, this person is working with us for the past, say, 3 years, 4 years, and then you can just apply online. One more thing that I would like to talk to you about is how is this industry so fruitful? Many of us, we don't actually consider, like, see, coming straight out of college, I never thought about food manufacturing as a good starting point. But to be honest, it is quite a fruitful industry. If you think about it, we've seen the pandemic happen, and we've seen all other industries crumble under the burden of the pandemic. But the only industry that was left standing, or that kind of supported everybody in that time, was the food manufacturing industry. I've seen, even in my family, in my close friends, I've seen people losing their jobs. And to my surprise, I almost 80 to 90% people at one time were staying at home, not doing anything, collecting serve. That was the only thing that they were doing. But for me, I was going to work every day, almost 5 times a week. I was going to work because the demand was, because people had to eat. They were staying home, they had to eat. So this pandemic has taught us that being part of the food manufacturing sector, food manufacturing industry, it is a very fruitful thing. Even like for new graduates, if I talk about FGF Brands, what FGF Brands is doing. See, FGF Brands we have internship, we have co-op programs that come into effect even when you're studying. So you can essentially, when you're finishing college or when you're in college, you have 6 months of internship or a co-op. You can come and join FGF, and they can easily hire you as a co-op. And once your co-op is finished, you will, like, FGF will definitely give you an opportunity to work with them. And so it creates a good opportunity for new students, newcomers, new graduates, even people coming from, like immigrants coming from other countries. It gives them a good opportunity for them. That's pretty much what I wanted to talk to you about. Thank you for this opportunity, and hope everybody who joined in gets an opportunity, to work in this industry and gets a positive note out of this whole session, this whole conversation.
My name is Morolayo Mould. I want to say a very big thank you to Nicole and the entire team for having me. I really, like I said earlier, I really like what you are doing, because this is the future. If we don't invest in them, we will be get to a stage in life that we realize that the young people or the young adults that are supposed to take the next phase of the race are not there, because we are not really talking about it. So let me start with how I started my career. I have a background in food technology, and that was in Nigeria. Myself and my family moved in about 5 years ago to Canada, which is, I count it a great privilege and a great opportunity for that leap move, and it's something I have never regretted it, and I won't regret it, by God's grace. So when I got into Canada, I worked briefly with Maple Leaf. I think that is always at times the first place of touch for everybody who is coming in. Then I worked briefly with Coca-Cola and some other companies. So as I was, working, even as a graduate, I didn't get what I wanted, but I never lost focus of what I was looking for. So the first thing I would tell anybody is, number one, know what you are looking for. And I need to let you know that the food industry is a huge industry, is very big, very huge. But because the society has really promoted some aspect of the industry now to the detriment of others, and thank God for people like Nicola now coming up and speaking up that there is life in food industry, guys, come and see. And that is why Terry, myself, and so many other people are coming up on this platform to let the young generation know that the world is not all about IT, because IT alone does not put food on the table. If during this COVID-19, if the whole world is about IT, you can imagine, even IT can help us. So every one of us, we have to look beyond where we are now and stop looking into, even yesterday is already gone. So we have to start looking into the future, 5 years to this time, this years to this time, and bring all of the mindset that we think we promote the industry. So how did I get to health and safety? Currently, I work as health and safety supervisor at Kerry Food. And I remember I was working as a QA specialist. You remember I said I have my background in food science, and I've worked as QA specialist. I've worked as training and development specialist. I love people. And if there's anything, I love to work with people. I love to journey with people in discovering who they are, right? In their journey of becoming. So that takes me a lot of meeting people. So I was working with this company, Chodlins Limited, and as a QA specialist. And before then, I realized I developed passion for health and safety. And I started taking a little training, I'll call it a little training at University of Victoria, that is BC. And I joined the health and safety committee of that company, not knowing that there would be an opportunity, right? They were not having any health and safety person, but they were having like the joint health and safety committee team to manage the health and safety program for the company. So I joined them. So after some time, I realized that they wanted a health and safety coordinator, and I applied. And I like, okay, have you started training? Even though I was doing my I was working as quality assurance specialist, I did not lose focus of what I wanted. So when that opportunity came up, I put in for it. And like they asked me, oh, do you have any training? I said, no, I don't have. I've not completed my training, but I have started something. Just like what Terry said, I have started something. And that was how I got in. So gradually, I learned on the job. So it wasn't like I came in as a perfect person. That I do tell people that I meet when I'm training that it doesn't have to be perfect. Whatever you want to do in life, don't start as a perfectionist. And if there is anybody I don't love to work with, people call themselves perfectionists because they're always like everything has to be 100%, but I'm not this 100% person. But I have seen myself going up there and I walk people down there. Eventually, it will be there. So that is who I am currently. And like I said, the food industry is huge. There is the CI, the continuous improvement in food industry. There is health and safety in food industry. There is the sanitation department in the food industry. There is what do we call R&D in food industry. There is also IT in food industry. There is warehouse, shipping department is a very huge house. So if you are looking forward to join, I think is the best place to work. And I do not have any regret working there, especially knowing when I was working as QA specialist that whatever we do it for the people, we serve the people. And I do tell my team, whatever you are not going to give to yourself, don't give it out. So it's so amazing to know that we are producing what people, what we are selling to people, where irrespective of the harm of the food industry you are working. I will compare it to the part of our body, right? My head, my mouth, my hands, my feet, the inner organs of me. When we all come together, that is what the food company or food industry is about. Yeah, so thank you.
Tell us, if you wouldn't mind, what's your typical day at work?
Currently, I work as health and safety supervisor. Yeah.
And typical day for you?
Yeah, my God, typical day for me depends. There are times that are easy, days are very easy, and there are times it's crazy, but I do not like to talk about the crazy days, especially maybe if there's an injury or something that you didn't really plan for, or maybe there's an audit coming in. Nah, my God, it's going to be like a crazy day from morning to evening. But for my age, let me say, just like a normal day, come to work, get on my emails, try to see, okay, do I have anything that I need to reply on? Or do I have a KPI that I need to report on? Then definitely maybe by 8:30, I get into the first year meeting to give them the safety tip of the day report, if there was any incident the previous day, or if there was any training update that needed to be completed. And that takes about 5 minutes or so. That's with the cross-functional team of the facility I work with. Then after that, I can have a touch point with the supervisor, production supervisor, if there's anything that he needed to tell me, or if there's anything I need to tell him, because we need to let the people know that they own health. Everybody owns health and safety. Because I'm the health and safety supervisor doesn't mean I have to you hold your hand on the job. No, it's everybody's work to make sure you keep safe. You think about yourself, you think about your neighbor. Then after that, I can go to the plant to check if there is anything I need, people to remind people and to make sure they are doing the right thing, they are using their PPE. And there are times it could be like my training week. If it's my training day for a whole day, it could be like I have to be engaged in training. If I have a new employee, I have to train them on at least the first most important trainings they need to get before they get onto the job, because we don't want anybody to get, for health and safety training is key, because it's part of our compliance. If anything happens and the government had to come into raid, the first thing they will ask is this employee trained. So training is very key for us in my role. So maybe towards around 10:30, I will have the management meeting, which is our tier 2 meeting, to brief them, okay, if there's any other KPI that we need to move with that. And because Kerry that I work with is a global company, it's a European company, we are over 36,000 employees in the entire world. So we are everywhere. So at times for NA, that is my North American zone alone, the health and safety specialists we are over 50 health and safety specialists. So there are times we have to go into the North American meeting, and at times it may be like my business unit meeting. So there's a lot of meetings going on there, but I think that is just the summary of a not a crazy day for health and safety. But if it's a crazy day, we have to do root cause analysis, try to do accident or incident investigation, reports, training, and all of the stuff. Yeah, or do WSIB.
So my name is Gireesh, Raina. I work for the province of Ontario. I started as a dairy plant specialist. Thank you. I started as a dairy plant specialist, but now they call me as a food safety inspector. So I'm working right now as a food safety inspector with the province of Ontario. I cover all over the province, right from southwestern Ontario till Kapuskasing. So I'm a food science graduate. I graduated in 1996, and I majored in dairy sciences. I did my studies in India, and after my studies, I got a co-op opportunity in Nestle. So it's an infant cereal producing facility. So I started there as a production officer. So basically it was a shift supervisor and also a team lead for HESA. So I worked for Nestle for 6 years. So those 6 years were the basic building block of my whole knowledge, which I still use it. Like it's one of the best companies I've worked with. I got an opportunity to work with the people who design the food safety and quality assurance system. So not only the auditing part, like what goes behind designing of a food safety system. So I got an opportunity working with that. So that really helps me till today. So after 6 years working with Nestle, I started working with Government of India. I got an opportunity to work with agency name as Export Inspection Agency. So the main job was to audit the food facilities which are exporting. So I got trained under EU regulations, European Union regulation and US regulation, because most of the exporting companies were exporting to EU and US. And I got certified as a HESA auditor. My first food safety certification, a formal certification. And I also got certified as an ISO 9001 lead auditor. I worked for that agency for Government of India for 6 years. And that was a big opportunity for me because I got out of Nestle and now I used to audit different food establishments. So not only dairies, it was meat, spices, fruit and vegetables, anything you name it so honey, everything. That I really enjoyed working over there. And after that, I migrated to Canada. Once in Canada, I did some survival jobs. I did some consultancy work, developing some programs and policies for facilities, helping them getting certification for HESA and GFSCI and like SQF, BRC, ISO 22000. And then I joined a spice company known as Newlyweds Food. So I worked there as a food technician and in the quality assurance department. So after 2 years working there, I joined Saputo. So those who are in the dairy sector, they know that Saputo is Canada's the biggest dairy processor. So I've joined their Tavistock facility. It's a cheese producing facility, and I joined there as a HESA coordinator. I was implemental in getting the BRC certification in the facility. And after that, I helped 3 more facilities, Saputo facilities, getting BRC. And then I shifted my focus to technical services. So they had a technical services department. So I got shifted in technical services. I spent 2 years in technical services. And then I got a career change. I did my career change move and I moved to the province of Ontario's food safety inspector. So I joined as a dairy plant specialist under the open competition. So basically my job is right from the very scratch, if somebody wants to set up a dairy processing facility, I had them implementing all the policies and regulations, selecting the site, selecting the equipment. So once they get license, so I also do their inspection and audit to provide them a license. So once they're licensed, so we do annual inspections and sampling to keep that license. And I also do food of plant origin inspections, like on-farm inspections for food processors, maple syrup, honey. So I also license them. This is the latest one right now. This is my scope. And I'm also thinking of moving to the meat program because meat is one of the biggest program we have. The province has it. So maybe in the near future, I'll move to the meat program. With my job, day in and day out. I do lots of traveling, really a lot of traveling. It all depends on what the priority of the day is. If I'm having a recall investigation, so I do that. If somebody is having some technical issue with their plant, so I'm there. I will drive over there and do that. So every day is different. I don't know like tomorrow what's going to happen. So that really keeps my life very interesting. So one of the thing I like is if there are customer complaints, so I go and do those investigations. I was involved in 4 of the recall investigations since last 5 years. So that was a big learning curve for me. I like to mentor in my facility. My facilities are like 2-man operation till a medium facility or a big facility like 300 people operation. So I like to mentor the QA people over there or the production people over there. I found it out with my experience. The facilities which I'm working with, if I mentor, if I develop the people over there, they ultimately make my life easy. If the professional I am auditing or who's working over there, I'm working with, if they understand the concepts of the food safety, the basic concepts of what I'm wanting for them, so it makes my work very easy. So I really like to mentor. And Emily said, the biggest part is you never know who is going to help you, what network is you are going to use. So I've seen, when I mentor people, I've worked with some people. So if there is an opening in any facility where I am inspecting or I'm auditing, so I always say that, why don't you try that person? So that's one thing I really enjoy with this job, seeing people grow. I have seen people growing from a lab technician to a director of QA. That's one of the things which I really like in my job. As I said, the passion which comes for the food safety is driving me, and every day is different in my job. This always keeps me very motivated, and meeting different people, solving their issues, that's also keeps me motivated. When I was doing my audit work, what helps me, I have experience of 25 years right now in food industry. So food safety audit or food quality assurance, this whole thing is so vast. Like just the scope is so vast. When I'm working with my clients, so they may need help for someone who can help them with the labeling. They need sometimes help with somebody who can their food safety programs. Some of the clients need help in developing their HACCP. So I've always found that the people who have technical knowledge or who have got a hands-on approach, like who have developed the system and then they have audited it, those guys are different than the people who have got just the certification knowledge. So if you want to be different or if you want to advance in your career, so just don't concentrate on getting the certification or audit certification. It will, in the long run, it will help you if you have made your hands dirty. If you know how to develop a system, it will help you a lot when you're auditing the system. Because when you're auditing or when you're inspecting, if you're giving about 5-10% of improvement of a feedback to your clients, you will always be appreciated. Otherwise, it's just, yeah, you are visiting a client for inspection or audit, and client has to bear with you because you're their auditor or inspector. If you have experience, if you have a knowledge of how to build up a system, and then you give that feedback when you're doing your inspection and audits, your clients will always welcome you and you will really enjoy your job day in and day out. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole, and thank you for having me here. So, hi everyone. My name is Swarna Ariyakumar, and I am a senior packaging engineer at Mars Canada. So, just to give you kind of a glimpse of my career journey, I graduated from U of T from chemical engineering, and I was always fascinated about the manufacturing industry, understanding how things were made, produced. But after graduation, I really didn't know which direction I wanted to go. And for me, I graduated right when recession hit. It was very difficult finding a job. And so I took on the first opportunity that I got, and that was as a quality technician at Mars Pet Care. So I was in the plant and collecting samples, testing. And I think one thing that I really realized after I got into the food industry was, as an engineer, you can go into product development, packaging development. And I think two things that really helped me grow, especially in the first couple of years of starting my career, was really connecting with kind of the associates out in the plant, really understanding how the process worked, but also taking on some extra projects. It was a way for me to really understand the different areas within production, whether it's product development, process optimization, but also an opportunity for me to really showcase my skills as well and build on my experience. So those two things I found really helped me grow in the beginning. And what really got me into packaging was I would see associates running line trials, and I was very curious about the packaging, how they came up with package designs, how they came about running line trials. And it was never something I knew about or really understood. So I expressed my interest to my manager at that time. And he said, reach out to the packaging development manager, set up a one-on-one and express your interest and see if there's opportunities to job shadow. And initially, I was very hesitant. I didn't know what to expect. I was really shy about setting up that initial connect, but honestly, that was the best thing I did. It really opened up that opportunity to get my foot in the door into packaging development. Because of that, like when that opportunity for a packaging technologist came forward, they reached out, asked if I was interested. I applied, and I became the packaging technologist at that time. And this was my first step into packaging development. And I've been in packaging development for 10 years now. I started off as a technologist, really focusing in pet care. And with Mars, I think one opportunity is that it's not just within one segment. It's not just pet care that we work with. We work with foods as well as Mars Wrigley. So there it really opportunity for us to expand. And I don't think a lot of people are aware of that. Lots of different segments, different brands, different products that you're working with. A lot of opportunities to really learn and grow. And so I started off as a technologist, and then as a packaging scientist, and now a senior packaging engineer. And really, for me, what I really love about packaging is that opportunity to really the technical piece, but also the creative piece. It's not, I get to be on the floor, run line trials, connect with associates in the plant, but also work with so many different functions. You're working with finance, you're working with finance on cost optimization opportunities, you're working with supply chain on creating efficiencies, you're working with quality, you're working with customer marketing and sales, understanding the retail landscape, what consumers are looking for, consumer research. So every day is so different. You're not working on the same thing every day. You're learning something new every day. So that's really what I love about packaging and why I've been in packaging development for 10 years now and really love it. Lots of opportunities to grow within R&D. It's not just in packaging, there's product development as well and quality. So lots of opportunities in R&D as an engineer to really grow. And if there was two key takeaways, I would say that I think are really important as you think about your career development, I would say, is relationship building. Build that network. It's so important. It's those relationships. You'll be able to meet a great mentor. I know personally, that's how mentor was really instrumental in helping me grow within packaging development. So I would say that's really important as you're thinking about your career advancements. But also remember that you own your development. I think that's one thing that I really embrace, is that you really own your development. Don't wait for somebody to come out and help you find that opportunity. If you're interested, ask that question, seek opportunities, and ask those questions. Be curious.
That was episode 41 of the FoodGrads Podcast. All the notes to this podcast can be found on the FoodGrads blog by clicking on the Student and Grads tab on the homepage. There you can find any notes to past or future episodes. Do you know anyone you would like me to interview on the show? Perhaps yourself? Or maybe a specific career path you would like me to explore? Then reach out and let me know. You can email me at veronica@foodgrads.com or any of the FoodGrads social media channels. Hope to hear from you. So that episode was a little different and a little experimental, I have to say, but I hope if you're still listening, then that is a sign that you enjoyed it. Over the past year, FoodGrads has partnered with CareersNow to bring 12 different mentorship sessions. Lucky for you, these sessions were all recorded and can be found on the Food and Beverage Ontario's website or YouTube channel. So if you want to listen to the full interviews of these sessions, then head over to the show notes for this podcast episode, and you can find the link for that YouTube playlist there, and the link to the CareersNow website, where you can stay tuned if there are any future potential sessions for these mentorships. And hopefully they do go through, because I think this was a great initiative, and it's always good to hear more voices from the industry. Anyways, that's it for this week's episode. Thank you everyone so much for listening, and I will see you next time.